going to go to Steve in Colorado because he's been holding the longest, and then we've got a bunch of whistleblowers on the line. In fact, we had some there that were saying that they were had been recruited by Infowars, but then that person hung up. 2 of them did. We want to hear from you. 800-25-99231. I've got the other phone system loaded as well. Steve in Colorado, got about 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was calling. I live in a relatively small town, and I have an 8-year-old son in public school. The other day, he came home telling me that the teachers are teaching them the government owns everything, the government runs everything, and their job as citizens is to obey anything they're told.
No, that's admitted. They're told you'll be arrested if you talk bad about the president. I mean, this is what's going on now. My children went to private school 2 days a week, and it was pretty good curriculum, except they were accredited, so they had to do stuff telling them that Michelle Obama loved them and that she knew best for what they should eat.
Another thing, we send homemade snacks, which have way more nutrition than the fruit snacks and stuff that they approve, and they won't let him eat them. They send him back home. Oh, yeah, no, that's already started in Illinois and other places. You're not allowed to pack the lunch now. You must buy and eat what the government says because your parents aren't good and they're not your parents, and we're going to give you inoculations without asking them. Right. Right. So, you know, now we're looking into homeschool as much as we can. But
what town do you live in? I didn't know that was happening in Colorado. It was big news when Illinois did it. I mean,
we're in Conifer. It's a small mountain town. We're actually outside of it. We live outside of it, but
well, why don't you tell the control freaks that they're not God and you can send whatever food you want to the government training camp?
Actually, we had a meeting this morning, but they didn't want to listen to me. They just wanted to tell me my 8-year-old was too hyper and he needed to be put on medication.
Oh, yeah, that's the other deal. I mean, any young mammal, you know, that runs, well, I guess if a puppy runs around and has energy, you need to give it a lobotomy. That's what the Ritalin does, gives you a chemical stunning. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your call. Very evil parent calling in. Doesn't want to put his child on synthetic methamphetamine. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about 1.5 years ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of longevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfowarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals, but the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfowarsTeam.com, sign up as a distributor, and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfowarsTeam.com. Show. What happened in Russia and Nazi Germany and East Germany is now happening here. The government has recruited over 100,000 preachers under the clergy response team, over 500,000, quote, executive managers that they admit. Even some of the major magazines a few years ago, like Reason and others, you know, have reported on that. It's been in the Associated Press, Reuters. There's also been confirmed reports that came out, 5 years ago, that the InfraGard is being trained in emergencies, licensed to kill, the NDAA, all of this. And they're going and just asking people, hey, will you spy on your patients? Will you spy on your workers? Will you... and if you say, well, that doesn't sound very American, well, then they put that in a file. So that's really the spying that's happening right there. Then if you say you will... if you're kind of a ne'er-do-well, control freak, pervert type, they recruit you up into the higher echelons as a collaborator with the takeover. And they'll send you out to talk up the Federal Reserve. They'll send you out to talk up smart growth, Agenda 21. They'll send you out and put you in different NGOs that they're setting up that they claim friends of this, friends of that, friends of sustainability. And then you will be the operative, and then you will get the plum jobs in the new organized economy. So I guess a lot of evil people listening are like, oh, great, I want to get recruited by this. And so good luck to you in that. A lot of people find out about the New World Order, they decide to join it, mainly out of fear, but also the power trip. And again, I've told the story over the last year. I'm going to try to get him on air about it. That Homeland Security tried to recruit my dad, and he thought that it was a setup. And then he talked to other dentists. They're like, no, I got visited last week at my house by Homeland Security, and it was different people. Sometimes they visit heads of hospital. The FBI visits them and says, we want you to spy on your employees, everybody. And they're like, are they connected to Al-Qaeda or terrorism? They go, no. Talking bad about the government, it's going to basically be illegal soon. You know, they tell them, and we need you to get ready to help us draw up list for mass arrest. And the average weirdo just really gets off of that, like, oh, yeah, oh, yes, sir. And so, oh, you're FBI. Let me slit my kids' throats right now in front of you because you're so good. I mean, the ATF's involved, you name it. Like, let me just read this, and then I'm going to go to your calls here. We've got Daniel, who's a whistleblower, Robert's school spy story, Julio, info on spying. We've got Mike in Texas, who's finishing up a caller from yesterday that never got on, so put him in the front of the line. We've got a line open here. If you are part of InfraGard or recruited by it, or they tried to recruit you, we want to hear from you. Because InfraGard's admitted, clergy response teams admitted. And I know most of you who have been recruited, you did it out of fear that you were approached. You didn't want to say no. That's why the enemy's winning. We have to say no to this fear. 800-259-9231, and then I've got another phone system full of calls as well we'll get to after this group of calls. 800-259-9231. Coming up, I'll play part of this video after calls. Man investigated by police for buying ammunition. Commercial fisherman questioned over purchase of a few boxes of ammo, even as feds buy bullets in huge quantities, 1.4 billion. A commercial fisherman was investigated by police for purchasing a few boxes of ammunition at his local gun store. A shocking example, this happens all the time, people about 200 rounds get visited, of how Americans are being intimidated out of exercising their Second Amendment rights, even as the federal government buys up bullets in vast quantities. Yeah, I was in a gun shop that had cops in it a few weeks ago, and they were freaking out that I was buying a bunch of ammo. They were, oh, a slave? Oh, my God. In a YouTube clip, Brian Loftus reveals how on the 28th of August he purchased a few boxes of ammunition from a local gun shop, only to receive a phone call later from the same evening by the state police. The cops said they needed to talk to Loftus because he had purchased a large amount of ammunition. Loftus said to the police he told that someone at the gun store, Loftus said that police told him someone who was at the gun store while he made the purchase, who works for the chief of police, reported Loftus to make sure he wasn't going to do something crazy. And again, no matter how ridiculous their call is, the cops come because they're meant to, you know, the spy is their boss. I've seen them to the spies. They bow to them. This guy in a suit last week, if you just joined us, Linda West was out with John Bowne, you know, I mean, a nice lady, you know, in a dress, executive dress, out there wanting to interview people coming out of a Starbucks downtown. And she's like, sir, we'd like to talk to you. What about? About your view on where the state of the country is, the government. That was her quote. And he says, yeah, hold on, pulls his camera out, starts taking photos, calls the police on him, and then walks off watching, and the cops pull up and go like this. But see, soon it'll be bye-bye. See, in East Germany, if you weren't a good globalist, you couldn't travel. That's the no-fly list, no travel. Everything they did in the Stasi is here. We've got to say no to this now. They're already arresting people who are peacefully protesting and locking them up saying it's terrorism. No one's even really protesting now. They're so scared. If they convince you to bow down, they win. They come in like a flood. They got re-education camps, everything set up. That's in the Army's own documents. Just look into Army admits. Guys, type this in right now to show people watching on prisonplanet.tv. But for radio listeners, just type in Army admits re-education camp plan, because they responded to our article. And then it turned out people were like, you didn't break anything. It's on Army.mil National Guard site out of Kansas. We're like, okay, we were sent it. We called, confirmed it was real. We didn't know it was already on a website. I mean, okay, aren't we good that it's confirmed? No, you're bad. You didn't break anything. So what? We need to throw you people in camps. You know, well, listen, good luck to you people that try. Really good luck to you, scum. Just because you are collaborators with a foreign takeover, you are so sick, you people, you serve this. I'm going to shut up now. Daniel, who's a whistleblower, calling from California. What FEMA region is that? Let's put that up on screen. That's FEMA Region 9. So you're calling us from number 9 there, Daniel. Go ahead and make your point.
Alex?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I have a problem. I need to admit something. I remember being microchipped in a church. I remember I was in bed for 6 days. My hair was bald for no reason. I remember having my hair cut there, and then all of a sudden I'm in bed, and I'm hearing voices telling me that a bomb's going to explode in my head if I show it to my parents. And I was in bed for 6 days straight because I was hearing the voice.
Well, there is a lot of mind control, sir, but we need whistleblowers that can confirm it. Put it in an email, send it to us. I mean, a government that shoots up small children with syphilis, that's declassified, and radiated 4,000 of them to death, that's declassified, does do a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it's also schizophrenics. Let's talk to Robert in New York with a school spy story. Notice a lot of the InfoGuard aren't calling in. They're like sitting back going, I got the power. I get patted on the head at the FBI office. Robert in New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Alex? It's a pleasure to speak with you. First-time caller, but long-time listener.
Welcome, sir.
Good, thank you. I'll make it kind of short and sweet for you. I know you're busy over there today. Basically, I live in Staten Island, New York City. And my girlfriend's son is in 7th grade, and he goes to this particular school in Staten Island, and he also plays soccer. So he had a soccer game that he's part of the team for the school. On the Saturday morning, we went to the game. So we're watching him play the game, and during intermission of the soccer game, I had to go to the bathroom, right? So I went into the bathroom of the school, and this is the first time I was actually in the bathroom of the school. So I go to the sink to wash my hands on the way out, and the normal signs on the bathroom wall would indicate, please wash your hands as you leave. But not only did it have this sign of wash your hands as you leave, underneath that, it had the Department of Homeland Security mantra, if you see something, say something, plastered right on the wall.
Oh, yeah, no. 8,000 Walmart locations, we now have video, have put it in with big sis saying, watch your neighbors, trust no one but government. There's PSAs on TV. They're now breaking in on cell phones with messages. It's total fear. Fear everyone but government. Spy on everyone. It's a total change in the culture. And they're finding all these nobodies who can't get a job anywhere to be their enforcers, and then they're trying to hire little mid-level managers to be James Bonds. And I've talked to, like, bartenders and stuff. They'll come up and flash a little badge at women and go, I'm with Homeland Security. And then it turns out, you know, there's some guy that manages a print shop with 30 employees. And, I mean, just imagine the power trip now. It's horrible to see this happening.
It's really put a knot in my stomach when I seen them coming after the kids like that, really indoctrinating them at such a young age to be rats on their fellow students.
Sir, they admit that they've got public school teachers now. Remember 10 years ago or so, they said, oh, we have government computers now to make sure in English class you don't plagiarize. But really, everything your kid's writing is going in a government database, and they have, this has come out in the news, I've gotten the manuals. It's in my film, Police State 2, The Takeover, so it's 12 years ago. That the ATF runs the class, but no one has even told this. And like the essay today, what type of firearms do your parents have? Tomorrow, what's in the medicine cabinet? Next, does your family smoke marijuana? This is with 6th graders. And they sit there and write it in a database, and the ATF is running it in town. I mean, it's Stasi. The government's criminal. They're murderers. They're evil. We're red alert, folks. Red alert, red alert, red alert. I'm sorry. Anything else, sir?
Al, it's just a shame that when I brought it up to the attention of a few parents at the soccer game, they all have their heads in the sand thinking that there's nothing wrong with this. They think it's just for the protection of other students because of bullying. That's what the school tells us.
Oh, yeah, the feds for bullying. I hear you. I appreciate your call. We're going to go to break and come back with all the other people that are holding ammo buying horror story from John, Angel, the whistleblower, Julio with spying story, and others. And after those 5 calls right there, I promise, Scott, Info Mom, John, Chuck, Lionheart, Dead, Blake, Chris, we're going to get to all of you, okay? 2 phone systems going here. The Genesis phone system only takes 6 calls. Ours can take up to 100, but that's all crazy. Listen, if you knew history, I know they haven't taught it to most people out there, new listeners, you would be totally freaked out, folks. What we're seeing is the greatest evil the world has ever witnessed. We've still got running parallel our basic freedom, but they built up this giant parallel system. They're getting ready to switch the tracks. And It's amazing. I mean, my dad won't tell me the whole story because of a patient-client, doctor privilege. But he told me the Stasi agents they're sending in are the worst people he knows. He's known one of them over a decade. Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. The point is, it's like you buy 2 boxes of ammo now and the cops come and you're like, well, what? And it's about you're bad. It's about a perception that, oh, you're not allowed to clean your gun in your backyard. Your neighbor saw you're going to jail. And you're like, but why? You're just going to jail. But we're going to say it's psychiatric. And that's how the secret police are coming. Oh, there's THC in your blood. They take your blood when you're having a baby, guilty until proven innocent, give you a false positive, or so what if you were smoking pot? It's nothing compared to mothers, taking Prozac or whatever, or they tell them take flu shots they know are killing the babies. Up until 4 years ago, they never said don't take, they never said take flu shots when you're pregnant. Now they say you need to do it. I mean, it's just crazy how criminal this government is. And all these weirdos saying yes to it because it's the authority. That's not what America was based on. All right, who should I go to next here? Let's go to John with an ammo buying horror story. Go ahead, sir. You're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Well, last Thanksgiving, I went over to up Michigan to see my mother, and I went over to see a close friend of mine, and he told me that a friend of his had went to a sporting goods store to buy 500 rounds of .223 ammo. And he said the next day he had 2 sheriff detectives at his door knocking, wanting to know why he bought that ammo and what he's going to do with it. And at the time, I said, well, man, I never heard of that before. That's something new on me, But now I guess this is starting to take off all across the country,
Yeah, if you type in police visit man after ammo purchase, you can find it. And it's almost always some old veteran with no criminal record. Or if you buy 2 or 3 guns, they come and say, what are those for? Well, I don't know. The guns I all bought have doubled or more in value. It's an investment. I bought 5 guns a few weeks ago. Hadn't bought guns in about a year. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. You are who needs to be watched. I appreciate your call. Let's talk to Ryan in Texas, listening on 90.1 FM here in Austin. Ryan, tell us your story quickly.
Hey, Alex. Good to be talking to you, first-time caller. Okay, I saw an article on Infowars that Apple had patented technology where they could prevent your iPhone from filming.
Yes.
Well, I had actually experienced this because I went to the Boneyard. It was an Air Force active military base. It's called a Boneyard. They had all the decommissioned aircraft.
Yeah, incredible footage. It's in a lot of films.
Well, I wish I could have gathered footage with my iPhone, but when I was on the bus, my iPhone was disabled. It would allow me to go all the way to the camera setting, and then when I would turn it to film, it wouldn't allow me to film. I tried it 3 times.
No, they admit the Department of Defense has that. Everything is backdoored, and that was in Wired last week. In fact, you can just type in Apple patents disabler, but they already have that. And it's just a new patent, but they've already been doing it where you go to a rock concert and suddenly all your phones are disabled. That's why we've got to also save, and we have saved, all our old low-tech cameras, because now they can just give a general order when they SWAT team your house or whatever that any live streams or whatever are killed. This is the whole new battle plan. And, I mean, now, how are you sure they turned off your phone?
The fact that it was working perfectly before I got on the bus. I was at the Air Force Museum, so I was looking at all the planes. So I was filming around the museum, and then I got on the bus. I had to give them my ID and then go on to the Air Force base. But then when I was on the Air Force base, I tried 3 times to open up my phone. to film all the aircraft. You know, this is after the American government sold 34 F-16s to Syria. You know, 84 of them or something like that.
No, you don't understand. All these foreign governments are good. You're bad. You're the ultimate enemy. You think the globalists hate Afghans because they won't only sell opium to them? The globalists hate you so much because of who you are, who your ancestors were. You've been the big enemy. That's why they fluoridate our water, GMO our food. We are the big enemy. They have us fight their wars while they're killing us with soft kill weapons. They have our troops. Only military in the world that lets ground troops use DU other than the Israelis. That all blows back on Israel as well. They hate our military. And, yeah, no doubt that's the new system. They admit where police hit one button and all the cell phones turn off. Not just the phones aren't going to work. They do not want a record. And that's why you've got to go with low-tech cameras. Do not throw away old cameras. Do not throw away old tech. Remember this. I predict now that within 5 years, old tech will be as valuable as gold. I'm going to say this again. I predict that within 5 years, old tech will be as valuable as gold. Everything has back doors in it. Everything has kill switches in it.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
That's right. We are the heart of the human resistance. We are aware of the global psychopath guilds intending to leverage humanity with third world slave labor. In this phase, then, with automated robots, combat drones, ground, air, and sea, use them centrally commanded against the majority of humanity that is resisting them. But if we can break through their manipulation system, we can save humanity. But a hellish system of control is being set up. Now, I've got to race through calls now because I need to get into gold confiscation news. And I'm looking for my ABC News article that I had here. If you guys will reprint that for me. And I've got just a bunch of other news. I haven't gotten to the news about the, the article confirmed where if you buy 2 boxes of ammo, the police call you, again, implying you've done something wrong. They're now grabbing veterans with no criminal record and putting them in mental institutions. I mean, it is just total Stasi takeover. We've got a top professor coming on soon, an expert on the Stasi. But real fast, because I want to go to this phone list. Scott, John, Chuck, Lionheart, Blake, Chris, we'll get to you in just a moment. But finishing up with some of these, we have Steve, who has a friend at Infowars. That's the giant spy network, not fighting Al-Qaeda, but just spying on gun owners, Christians, conservatives. We're all listed as terrorists publicly, as you know. Returning veterans, #1 terrorist. I want to go to Corey in Connecticut, active duty Army. What's your take on all this, Corey?
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Pretty good, I guess.
Awesome, my man. No, one of the things I just wanted to touch on, which shocked me this weekend, just hitting up on a drill. Obviously, we got to do our weekends. The big thing here, any active duty, military, National Guard, Reserve, task force, they have these things called family readiness groups that they've been pushing. One of the pieces of training that we went through this weekend is one of the mandatory things that everybody has to do now, armed forces wide. It's called MTBI, mandatory training. And what they're basically doing, from what I understand here, is Yale and UConn Health Center, they're pushing through a new study here in the state that children that are going through sports programs, they have to have a TBI scan before the season, and if there's any occurring concussions or TBIs, even at the children's level, they have to have another one before they even start the soccer season or the football season. And they're trying to push this year now through the family readiness groups to try and get to soldiers' kids who might be either in the community or even on active duty posts. But I find that kind of disturbing at the fact that they're making these kids now go through CAT scans before they even play a sport now.
Yeah, let me explain, sir. This is a total mega tyranny. CAT scans deliver a lot more radiation than an old chest X-ray. When they miscalibrate them, guys, type in badly calibrated CAT scans make hair fall out. It's even New York Times. People have died days after a high-powered CAT scan, and they are now, this is the medicalized mafia. Hitler did it, Stalin did it, and that's what I talked about this weekend. I had people at Barton Springs and somebody at the grocery store run up to me going, they're taking my neighbor's kid, they're taking my sister's kid, because they went in to have a baby and found THC, or they found painkiller. And in both cases, my sister doesn't smoke marijuana, or, you know, my neighbor doesn't use painkillers. You know, they're an executive. And the point is, they take your blood. They don't tell you, hey, you're coming into a law enforcement situation. You have a right to remain silent. They tell you, hi, how you doing? You got enough money at home? They're putting it in it's all predatory. They're making the nurses take all the shots. They're illegally injecting kids with shots all over the country. Sir, 4 years ago, all inserts for vaccines said, do not take vaccines when you're pregnant. It's been known forever to cause miscarriages, autoimmune problems, deformities, death. Now they say, women, you need shots. They're setting the precedent to give you shots and have the doctors and nurses follow orders. And you talk to any nurse or doctor, they'll go, yeah, they did say that until 4 years ago. They're just getting us ready. They're just getting us used to it. And then it's so horrible. And yes, that's the medical tyranny, where they're now saying, you've got to wear an ID bracelet if you want to be on the football team. Now everybody has to wear it. And Department of Defense with AI computers watching the food you eat. That's going on nationwide. I mean, we are in it's like aliens took over and are in human form, you know, and this is a scientific takeover. It might as well be that. It's like body snatchers or something. It's like The Thing. It might as well be something. I mean, it's that bad. It is a tyranny that makes every other tyranny pale, because it's creeping, it's systematic, it's psychological, it tests, it's got people in stratas. It's Satan, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is beyond human stuff. That's why I say aliens. It is so, when you study it and see the master programming of it, and it's so incredible. And what's even more frustrating is the minions of it have no idea they're going to be destroyed. And so, yeah, now the military tells you how to take care of your family, get ready, all this stuff, and CAT scans for your children. Guys, make a note. That's going to be big news. That's important, because I'll guarantee you what the caller's saying will end up, you know, being out there somewhere, so we can verify this. What else? I mean, I know there's lots of riot training going on right now.
Well, that's for certain. I mean, like I said, they're bringing in the shipments left and right, but they're also destroying all the old stuff before it can even be put out to like an Army or Navy store, just cutting it up. I mean,
well, you don't want the enemy to have it. You know, back when the government wasn't all bad, they wanted the people to have it. You don't want the enemy have that stuff. Are the men around you figuring out that there's a massive battle buildup against the people?
They are, and like I said, even my officers, they're seeing, because they're receiving these random notices from the Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense and Health Affairs, and it's basically stating with the kids, and this is why we brought it up yesterday, is the fact that, hey, if your child needs a CAT scan before he can even play a sport, they're sending out these letters now in the mail for research.alterum.org, and they're trying to ask, hey, your child's been picked for a random survey. And I'm like, no, this ain't a random survey. It's like now they're starting to see what the types of training that they want.
Well, also, they've injected you with nanotech. That's now been confirmed. They call it viruses. It's not really a vaccine. They go, oh, this specially designed virus will make you feel good or make you... Notice in the movie, the newborn movie that's very accurate, they give you a virus that eats parts of the brain so that you will be able to run further. It cuts out your governor. I've discovered declassified viral injection studies 20 years ago they did. That movie's real. So the troops have had everything tested on you when they're lining you up and not telling you what it is. So they want CAT scans of you and your family because it's multi-generational. They want to see what mutations are in your children. In 1968, when they released a bioweapon and killed a bunch of people on the New York subway, details remain classified, they had Army doctors posing in all the local hospitals to track it and stayed and followed those families for decades. You understand? I mean, it's so diabolical. I appreciate your call, sir. God help us. The pure massive evil we face is just unendingly. That's the problem. In a trillion shows, I couldn't tell you everything they're doing. It's all beyond anything people can imagine. People think, oh, you're fear-mongering, you're exaggerating. No, I'm holding back, okay? It's worse than I'm even telling you. All right? It is beyond anything you can imagine. It is a scientific technocracy that sees us as dumb animals and is testing everything on us. They are testing super cancers on us so they can create cures for themselves while killing us, while extracting all the money you save when you get cancer at 50. They inject you with cancers that are designed to activate in the viral plaques in the tissues when your hormone level goes down. I've never been for hormone replacement because it can cause cancer in the studies, but now I've been seeing some studies that the reason people are living longer with hormone replacement is because it's blocking the SV40 and other viral plaques that you've been injected with. They're hitting us and hitting us hard on every level. And I'm sick of it. And idiots out there that serve the system, you're dead too. They've already soft-killed you, you moron. There is no joining with this. It's pure death. You can't make a deal with it. All right, I'm going to go to the other phone system here in about 5 minutes. We're going to go to Steve with Friend of Infraguard. We've got other Infraguard people. We've got Scott who disagrees. We've got another whistleblower, Angel. We'll get to all of you. But that's just the Genesis phone system. I haven't gone to Scott, John, Chuck, Lionheart, and Blake and Chris. I promise I'll get to you, even though we have Tom Woods coming up. But we'll just, I mean, he's a good guy about libertarianism and freedom. But we're light years into another dimension on this, okay? And only facing up to the true magnitude of what we're dealing with is going to stop this. Do you understand this is how you act when you're aware of this information? You've got to get moving. You've got to get out of your trance. Man, that's why I welcome the tyranny, because you'll know it's real, folks, when they are stomping you in a parking lot telling you not to talk about it, or when they call up and death threat you and tell you what you were talking about. You'll know it's real, folks. You'll know it's real. You'll know it's real when you stare it right in the eyes. And let me tell you, it's real. You can smell it. Your instinct knows it. People that you talk about this, they get upset at you because deep down they're afraid they know you're telling the truth. Deep down they know. Deep down they know. And that's why they think you're the one causing the problem, because you're bringing up. You're pulling the scab off. But we need to pull the scab off. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?